Turnbull, in his third inning of work, walks to the top of the hill. His pitch to Miguel Vargas, just outside from Turnbull and Heineman.
Well, he's got his game and his game plan. We know what he does. He spins the baseball and he'll mix in that fastball. The velocity's not that. Next one in once in a while just to show, but ultimately I think he's shown that he's going to try to get you out with the breaking pitches. Just keep this game somewhat close, because you know that the White Sox behaving, you're always in the ball game. And it's a much different feel than we saw earlier in the season. What you don't want is to see like a would have liked to keep that to a 1. It was a 2, but you don't want to see 2 more, and then it becomes a game that is hard to come back.
Turnbull's payoff pitch, lined foul into the screen. This is the guy they could envision in the middle of their order going forward, and he nearly took one up and in there. He'll take a walk. You could just see the excitement in some of the people I talked. John first, and the pitch home to Kyle Teal, just a little bit high with the sweeper. There's the cut fastball to make it 1-1. Fluharty had a little bit of a speed bump in the middle of the month. Last outing against Arizona, scoreless inning, 1 strikeout.
John Schneider and Pete Walker have managed this bullpen. It's going to be one of the most important jobs for a manager. And we mentioned names like Fluharty. Have Jose Barrios going tomorrow. You hope that he can give you some length so you can use a lot of guys. The pen's in pretty good shape today. The other thing John Schneider mentioned today throughout all of this,
line drive foul off to the left. Have guys fresh for a day like this. Called strike 3. Beautiful sweeper on the inside edge. Fluharty freezes Teal to Luis Robert. Up and away with the cutter.
To your point, was sent down.
Swing and a high fly ball, very deep left field, and gone. Second deck shot for Luis Robert Jr. The White Sox have blown it open, up 5-0 in the third.
Well, the hitting has been tough to come by for this White Sox club and for Luis Robert Jr., but he did not miss this one. It's a sweeper from Fluharty, and that was in
his career. For the White Sox in the second, they got 2 more here in the third, and the Blue Jays have dug themselves a little. Here's 3-0 on the outside edge.
As good as this bullpen has been this season for the Blue Jays, a lot of guys like Mason Goff to. Yariel Rodriguez has turned himself into a high leverage late inning reliever with his performance this year.
Walk by Fluharty's second. It's obviously one of the lower records in baseball. At the same time, that does mean they win about 1 and another team has another, that you just get the win. That's why we play the games.
Yeah, you don't want to eyeball the schedule too much looking ahead. Of course, looking to this weekend, you see the White Sox on the schedule, and the immediate word that comes to your mind.
Throw over to first, and getting back in without a slide, Sosa.
His first year in the big leagues in Oakland, he had like a 16 home.
Big 2023 season, struggled in 2024 and spent most of that year in AAA. He takes a called strike there on a cutter on the inside edge, and there are 2 down. First pitch cutter to Austin Slater to get ahead 0-1. 3 different teams, the Giants, the Reds, and the Orioles. A 1. Wave and a miss, 0-2.
I feel like the harder pitch is more difficult for hitters to square up and less likely to get hung in a dangerous spot. You saw what happened on that sweeper on the home. When Ben, and you didn't execute the pitch, obviously.
Looks like they might be trying to do that here. Sweeper down and in, and Slater takes ball 2.
Great spot, though. That's the great location we're talking about. That's called execution. I mean, you're not going to hit your spot with it. Doesn't matter. But the firmer one, you don't seem to get as good a swings.
On a bullpen, the 3-2. No, he'll throw over to first, and Sosa gets back in. And it's up and away ball 4. A second walk for Fluharty, and a third walk of the inning for Blue Jays pitching.
Side even to right-handers, but he has just been missing arm side a little bit too much, especially with that cutter. Not quite finishing the pitch. Better spot there. Trails a little bit, so you just can't quite get it to the plate, and you miss arm side, which is up and away to those righties that we saw tonight. But he's pitched in 2 of the last 3 days.
The 1-2. Outside with the cutter. Pitches for Mason Fluharty. Previous high was 26. And a high fly ball right field. Moving back, Barger on the warning track, leaps at the fence, and it's down on the track. In to score Sosa. Slater right behind him. A 2-run double for Josh Rojas, and the ready to chase Mydroth. First pitch strike. Last time the White Sox scored this many runs in a
Walker over there wondering how they're going to figure this thing out. And that's what these bullpen days have done early in the season. We've about tomorrow and the next day. You're mapping it out. It is a big puzzle.
To a certain extent, obviously. 2-2. Called strike 3. Fluharty, bottom of the 3rd. Nathan Lucas hits for the first time since returning from the concussion injured list. And the Blue Jays can't hit a 7-run homer, Joe. So
the first time he probably feels like he's been in the field for a couple of hours.
He hits it on the ground to the shortstop, Mydroth. Quick toss over to first. 1 out. Blue Jays. Alexander deals home, and the switch hitting catcher takes a strike. A big part of it, we've Gonzalez or catcher Kyle Teal standing right beside him. A lot of different guys that he's familiar with.
The White Sox got some good young players to build forward with.
On the ground up the middle, back into deep Sosa. Throw has enough on it to be
over 6. Provide a little stability maybe for this White Sox club that needs it on the pitching front.
Last year, swingman bouncing between the bullpen and rotation. Probably a similar role to what he'll have with the White Sox. There's a good chance that he could end up filling that Davis Martin spot. They just didn't really have the time to build him up at this point or give him enough.
Define the art of pitching, the way he sinks it. He's got the 4-seamer and different breaking balls and changeup. And these are the kind of guys sometimes that can give you fits. I said didn't go very well, and they're certainly in need of that with their injuries and the struggles. Have left arm will travel, as they say.
Swing and a miss. He gets Clase.